Okay.
Hello, everyone. We are from the Aspirants Relations and Branding Committee of HRM and LR, TISS Mumbai. My name is Siri Sindhura, and his Kshitij Sharma. So, a brief introduction about myself. I've pursued graduation
Kshitij Sharma.
from IIT Guwahati, uh, and then later on, I prepared for civil services. After which, I worked in a startup as a UX designer for 3 years. Later on, I'm into HRM and LR program.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. I'm Kshitij Sharma. I am series batchmate from TISS HRM and LR, and we both belong to the Aspirants Relations and Branding Committee, also known as ARC. So, we are doing this live session to pertain to a few questions about the next round of the admission process. So this year basically has been a year of many changes. We've switched to a different exam altogether, and owing to that, there has been a lot of changes in the process also, the further process also. So owing to the confusion in the air, we thought we'll come live and address all the queries that you aspirants have for us regarding the further rounds in order to make it into TISS HRM and LR.
Yeah.
So, the way that we've designed the structure of this live is like basically we'll be taking you through the form filling process, which is the first phase of the post exam admission process. Then we'll be taking you through the DAF process. After that, we'll be taking you through, we had some queries about how to go about GDs, and then we'll take you through some tips about the interview process. We'll be taking some pre-registered queries as a priority because we have already received quite a few queries. And after that, we'll be taking some new queries as we see them on the chat window screen.
Yeah. So just to highlight the form we are talking about, which is live on the TISS website, it is a mandatory step in the TISS admission process for your candidature to be considered for HRM and LR admission. So whether or not you have filled the CUET application form earlier, you are required to fill the form again and mention your preferences for the admission process.
Yeah, so as Siri mentioned, regardless of whether you had filled, the college TISS and the course HRM and LR in your CUET application form, this is still a mandatory step, and you have to fill the form on the college's website as well. So the forms are live till 24th of May. And regardless of whether you had selected HRM as a course earlier or not in your CUET application form, you are still eligible and you can still apply to it now as well. It doesn't matter if you had not filled it earlier, just because even if you have given the COQP 12 question paper code in CUET PG, you are still eligible to apply for TISS HRM and LR.
Yeah, so Kshitij, if you can tell them the details of the form, later on we can move on to the DAF.
Yeah, so the basic form that you'll find if you just do a basic search of TISS PG admissions, you'll find the form wherein you are required to enter your application ID of CUET PG, your date of birth, and then it'll validate your score, and you will get an email in your official email ID. When you click on the link, you'll be required to enter very basic things like your photograph, your signature, and preference for your programs that you can enter there. And that is all that you have to do by now. So that will be considered as your submission of interest for your candidature for this HRM and LR. And post that, you will have a separate window where you'll be required to fill a detailed application form.
Yeah, so for your convenience, I'm trying to project my screen and give you a glimpse of how the previous year's DAF looked like. So this year DAF, we are expecting it to be more or less on the same lines. Just to give you an idea of what all needs to be filled, let me take you through the DAF. Pardon the formatting because I've just turned it into an editable format. Yeah, so basically the detailed application form of 2023 had 10 sections, the registration number, the name of program shortlisted, because for each individual shortlist you have to send a separate DAF, and then your particulars of education, which includes 10th, 12th, and then graduation details and post graduation details if any, and any further diplomas or certificates. Later on, you have to list the preferences as you can see in the screen A, B, and C. If your preferences is first MA, HRM, and LR, you have to fill that, and then the next two preferences. Later on, there is a specific section if asking if you have any particular gap period, but they are also asking what you have done during that gap period. If you can see the
Yeah.
question here, how was this time spent? So this is your opportunity to actually communicate what you have actually achieved or tried in this particular gap years. This applicable is applicable especially after passing 10th.
Yeah.
And
So I think this part becomes important for people who have gap years, because they specifically ask you to mention the reasons, or, to kind of justify your gap years or what good use you put them to. So, think through it and put your best effort into filling this part as well, because it shows that the person just did not take gap years out of, not putting them into any fruitful use. You can just show whatever you did, whether you use it for some exam preparation, or whether you had some, family emergencies or medical emergencies. So that definitely, helps justify those gap years.
yeah, so here you can see there are three rows for the gap year. So one is after 10th if you have any gap year. So after 12th if you have any gap year. And the third one is after graduation if you have any particular gap year. Okay,
Yeah.
so most of the aspirants who are from civil services background, since I too share a similar background, what I have done is I have put my particular years that I have taken for civil services preparation and what I have actually achieved in those years, a certain number of mains or prelims that are qualified. Then I mentioned that.
Yeah. So Amulya, you're asking, you've registered, but you didn't notice the DAF section. Actually, this will come only after the initial registration period ends, which is ending on 24th May. So DAF will open only after that, and you'll probably receive a communication during that time frame between the interview phase and after this initial form filling period. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and the next section is about other programs you have qualified for from where you have got the course. You can mention those, and then your language proficiency, and then your employment details. If you are employed, then this column applies to you. Otherwise, employment experience is not a mandatory condition. And next, the 8, 9, 10 are subjective questions which you have to write in under 300 words. Say, for example, the question 8 is why are you interested in pursuing the selected program? Kshitij, do you have any suggestions on this? How to approach this
So
question?
this is basically, like we have for many other colleges, a statement of purpose. So this is similar or synonymous to that, that why are you interested in pursuing the HRM and LR course? So not just for this form, you should have this answer very well prepared for your interview as well. It's a very common question that will be asked, that why are you applying for this course? And within the word limit, you should be able to, put all your experiences and aspirations into this answer, that, why do you specifically want to apply for HRM and LR? So I think what you can use it as a career aspiration steps, why, or why you want HR in specific, or why you want TISS in specific. So kind of relate from those things and try to have this well covered, not only just in this form, but for your, interview as well.
Yeah, so like Kshitij said, this is not a form of vague expression of interest. So try to structure your answer based on what HRMLR is actually offering you. Research what the program is, what the curriculum is, what opportunities are being given, and match them with your interests and how you see it aligned with the course's structure. And then you can frame your answer on this. So, and
Correct.
the ninth question is mention any work done by you relevant to the field of study selected by you. So, if you
So
have done, yeah, go ahead, Kshitij.
So, like basically, if I remember my DAF correctly, I had mentioned a few, the NGO stints that I had done, or some of the things where I had interacted with HRs of my previous companies, or whatever I have read up about HR. So those kind of things are something that you can mention, that those are the works done by you relevant in the field of study. That will help you, pursue a career in HR. And even if you do not find anything, very specifically relevant, you can always relate it to, some NGO work or social work, or you can frame it in such a manner that, maybe you do not have it now, but you find it very aspirational and would like to do it in the future. So yeah.
Here you can be a bit innovative. You might not have the nomenclature that suits the field, but you might have done something that is related to it. For example, it is human resource management, right? Any leadership position you have held in the past, or like Kshitij mentioned, any association with the NGO, or any incident where you had to engage with the labor or even workforce per se, and what your learnings were, how this it inspired you to choose this particular program. You can tweak them a little bit and then frame your answer for this question. So the 10th one is
Yeah.
write your biographical sketch. The word limit is 300. So, Kshitij, would you like to
Yeah.
go?
So I think this is a very unique part that most of the other colleges you will not find it in their forms or something. A biographical sketches where you can just, within a word limit of 300 words, you can just write about your interests, what kind of a person you are. Just try to, align that why would you aspire to be in TISS, or why would you aspire to be in HRM course, and how your personality essentially aligns with the course. You can lay out all the positive aspects of your personality or of your academic achievements or whatever you have, and try to create a good kind of a story which will resonate with the panelists as well. So biographical sketch, as the word itself indicates, is mostly like you just have to share all your experiences of your life, which are more or less aligned with the career aspiration that you are choosing by choosing this HRM and LR. Yeah.
So, in this question, if you read it properly, it is to enable the interview panel to assess your interests.
Yeah.
So, here you can mention your background, whether it is the family background, educational background, or the experiences that have shaped you. And also when it comes to mention your interest, don't just list the interest, what all you are interested in, telling that this I am interested in, I have done this and all, but try to link that particular interest with any outcome you have personally experienced. For example, if you might have a simple interest like watching OTT shows, you can link it to how it has shaped your thought process, or how it has improved your exposure to multiple cultures or something like that. So in a single line you can hint about your interest and then mention about its outcome also. That way you can save the number of words by expressing more. So when you write this biographical sketch, show it to multiple people and ask their opinion on it. Let it have as many fresh eyes as possible, because they can identify the flow of it. If you are repeating a particular theme again and again in your sketch, or if you are missing something important about you, they can guide you through it.
Yeah. And also I think this, since this is only 300 words, it becomes very essential to capture the important parts only in this, right? Because 300 words is not that much. So just capture all the essential parts of your personality, of your interests, of your experiences, which will help just promote your candidature, or make you stand out from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah.
So as Siri also suggested, try to show it to more experienced people, or people who are there in the management field or in academia, or preferably if they are HRs, so, or some alums of TISS themselves, so they'll be able to guide you through it. Or even if you do not choose to show it to anyone, just be confident in whatever you have written, and maybe if
Uh,
it comes up in the interview, you should be able to you should be very well versed with these the things that you have filled in your DAF.
if
So
you
yeah.
actually start writing it at an earlier time, you yourself can have multiple looks at it at various periods of time, so you can also enable self feedback. At one point you might find something as important, at another point you might realize you have missed something important. So keep on adding and refining it till you submit the DAF.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think this DAF window, we should make it clear that this will only open after you have filled the basic form that is open right now.
yeah.
And that form is open till 24th of May. And in the basic forms, you just have to fill your basic information like your date of birth, your application number, just the photographs and the signatures and things like that. And this window will open after that. This will open essentially between the form that is open right now, and between the online assessment round. So essentially, I think early June should be the date that we are looking for about the DAFs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I
now,
think we have a few questions. Can we reach out to the current students of TISS HRM? Yeah, you can reach out to any of us, especially the ARC people. And just feel free to reach out to any of our batchmates as well. They will be able to guide you well, or any students of HRM and LR, or they often redirect the queries to us. We'll
Yeah,
do our best to address.
also just be aware that multiple people have multiple perspectives, take multiple opinions, but
Yeah.
ultimately assess those and make a decision on your own because it's your story. And this is
Yeah.
what brings you to the panel even before they know you.
So there's some questions about gap year as well. I think Siri, would you like to take it? Maybe I'll also share my thoughts.
Yeah, what exactly is the question? I have a 5 year gap after my engineering. Due to some reasons, I had to left placement. I got in college. What should I do to increase my chances? Okay, whatever the gap year you have, you must have done something productive in that particular period. So play it according to your strengths. So it is understandable that things might have not gone in your way in those particular years, and you had to make the choices you made. But don't be apologetic about it. Actually, make them understand how that has helped you transform as an individual, how that contributed to your personality development, and what you can bring to the table because of that. And especially when it's gap year, the important ability you have that others don't have is to handle failures. You can play on that, so you have to look for your special points. Everybody have their insecurities, so if you have one particular point which you think will diminish your chances, you have to play on other points that will increase your chances. And also you can justify it, even if it's a 5 year gap period, you must have done something productive, right?
Yeah. So essentially, the important part about justifying your gap years is, I think me and Siri both had gap years. So the essential part is that you do not be apologetic about it. You should be able to justify the choice that you had made at that point of time. See, working out of a choice or not working out is often not under our control. What is under our control and what you can pitch to the panel is that you had tried your best during that point of time, and why was it the decision that you had made at that particular point of time, and now is a different point of time where you have made this decision so as to appear for TISS HRM and LR. So
Yeah,
just answer it honestly and do not be apologetic, but justify it with clear conviction and clear reason, clear justification,
and
and just stay strong behind whatever was your motivation at that point of time, whatever was your reason at that point of time. So I think then you should be, it does not, like, we have many people TISS with gap years who have
while
been selected into the TISS HRM and LR course. So
something productive
please,
during the
yeah, so please don't consider it as a sort of a roadblock or a hindrance. It's definitely not the case as long as you can
definitely
justify it.
not the eliminating factor, but it all depends on how you play. Whenever
Justify
you
it.
are posed such uncomfortable questions now, it is not about judging your choices. It is for them to understand how you perceive your own journey.
Yeah.
So give a clear impression of that.
And how willing are you to take tough questions, and how willing are you to stick by your decisions. So that is something that they are trying to test, that no,
Also, your
our,
demeanor. Sorry to cut you, Kshitij. Go on,
yeah.
please.
So I think, like, our professors or the people who will be judging you are matured enough to not, they will be putting you in uncomfortable position by these questions only for testing your resolve, or testing your, how firm you are on your decision and how well are you able to justify it.
Yeah.
So I think these are the questions. How is this HRM LR different from other IIMs? I mean, TISS, the HR course in specific, is, I think, one of the flagship courses in the entire Indian universities. So I think the numbers are out there and they speak for themselves. I think
The
we need
most
not repeat that.
important USP of TISS HRMLR is the fieldwork program we have. So in all other B schools, they only have one industry exposure, which is the summer internship. In HRMLR, you have five such exposures and one NGO internship as well. So even if you're actually out there in the industry as an employee, you have experience in multiple sectors, FMCG, pharma, or conglomerate. So then you'll have a basic idea on how to, maybe network or make choices even for your career also, to explore your interests, see how you align with them. See, basically, it's a theory plus practice happening simultaneously. For example, in first semester, we have the academic semester, and then at the end of the semester for 1 month we have field work. So we go and apply what we have learned, try to apply what we have learned, and then whatever the gaps are we pick up from the fields, and then we come back to the second semester, we bring that industry knowledge and we share it among our peers, we discuss with the academic faculty, so the learning is more realistic and relevant.
Yeah. So I think there's also a question about timelines and the cutoff. I think we'll take it one by one. So the timeline, like whatever is official as of now, is the first phase of form filling is up to 24th May. And what we expect after that is probably the detailed application form. The links will be out and people will have to fill that. So that will obviously be after 24th May. You can, take a early June kind of timeline for that. And the other official timeline that we have is for the online assessment rounds, which is your GD and PI, and that is from 18th of June to 30th of June. And since the online assessment is from 18th of June to 30th of June, so results, as many people are asking, will probably be after 30th of June only. So this is the first part. And the second part is about the cutoffs. So Siri, would you like to take that? Because
Yeah, like we mentioned, the mandatory step in the admission process is yet to be completed on 24th May. So, based on the applications we received till 24th May, that will decide the cutoffs also. So, irrespective of what you have scored in CUET, we highly recommend you to go ahead and take your chances and apply till May 24th for the HRM and LR if that is actually your dream. Because we have been getting queries about the cut score people are scoring, and then whether they will be eligible or not. That is really difficult to estimate now. If HRMLR is your dream, take your chance, go and apply. Cutoff is the next stage.
yeah, I think as we already mentioned, the cutoffs only become cutoffs once we have a preset of registered people. So registrations are still on. And regarding cutoffs, they'll only be released, and you can go by the estimates that various market or coaching sources are given, but even those are not final. So even we as students cannot make any prediction for the cutoffs as of now. But if you are genuinely interested in the course, you do fill the form and just give yourself a chance, because if you're not filling the form itself, then you are not giving yourself a chance essentially. Then the cutoffs don't matter anyways. So I would highly suggest, if you have given COQP 12 of COET PG, regardless of whether you had selected HRM earlier or not, you should definitely go ahead and fill the form and give yourself one
Yeah,
chance. Yeah.
regardless of what you are expecting to score as of now, also you can go ahead and fill the form. Also,
So
there is
there's
a
also a
question on
question about,
PWDs, how PWDs do field works, will any assistant
yeah.
is provided? Yes, most of the organizations, in fact, all of them are very inclusive, and they are, provide opportunities equally good for specially abled people as well.
Hmm.
So do not worry about that.
So we have been having, since we are a social sciences university in general, so PWD people do, have equal opportunities as any other person over here. And, they have been to really good organization for their field work as well, especially in our batch and even in the previous batches as well, like really renowned organizations. So, those kind of opportunities are there present for anyone, be the PWD or any other candidate. So there will not be any hindrance on a disability part. So I hope that answers that question. Uh, Seat to call ratio, I think, would be around 10 times, right, Siri?
Yeah.
So it will be around 10 times. So 1 in 10 is what you can, 1 ratio 10 is what you can, think of, because that was how it was for the last time.
If there are
Uh,
questions about
yeah.
GD and PI, maybe we should give a general KT on GD and PI and then take further queries. So would you
Yeah, sure.
like to go
So I
ahead?
think we are done with the form filling and, the DAF part we were able to show you. Now, since even in our pre-registered queries, we had a lot of queries about how to go about GD and PI. So I think first we'll start with the GDs, and then we can maybe share some tips that we can for PI. So, Siri, you want to start?
Yeah, so this year the GDs is it's going to be entirely online. So usually what happens in a GD process, online GD process is you'll be given a Zoom link and a particular time slot. Once you report on the slot, your attendance will be taken and you'll wait for your turn. So once your turn comes, you will be sent to a breakout room where the group discussion happens, and then you exit. So what we would want to suggest you is, once you enter the breakout room, there will be a panel waiting for you, and once all the people are available, they will give you certain guidelines on how the GD is going to be. What is the time division of the entire GD? Usually it will be like, after they give you a particular topic, they'll give you like 1 or 2 minutes to think on it, and then the discussion starts. And the discussion may go on up to like 15 minutes, and then the final 3 minutes will be for conclusion. What happens in most of the cases is candidates engage in debate or uh, towards putting forth their points, that they lose track of time, and finally no one concludes. So that will
Yeah.
reflect bad on the entire group. So first point is, keep a track of time. Have a watch with you, keep a track of time. Even if somebody is engaged in a debate, if it's time to conclude, take the initiative to conclude.
Yeah, and also it's good general practice to so as Siri mentioned, they'll give you a set of instructions. Maybe your GD is for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, probably not more than that, right? So you can have a stopwatch on, because that also helps you internally to that okay, now only this much time is left, I should pitch in, or I should make a call, or towards the end specifically, as Siri mentioned, that it's now time to conclude. So it's a good practice to keep a stopwatch with yourself during the GDs. That is one tip that we would like to give you all. The other thing is, the GD, like, it stands for group discussion, but sometimes it turns into group debate. So I think that is something that you have to be very careful with, that whatever points are made, they are made in a very respectful manner. You can be assertive, but you have to be respectful. And you should try to getting into debates, rather than you should try to take the GD into a fruitful and logical conclusion, so that there's something that comes out of the group discussion, some conclusion or some fruitful result that comes out of it. So these are the things that matter during a GD. And like, content wise, there could be like three kind of topics that you might get broadly. So basically, you may get an abstract or a philosophical topic, or you may get a case based topic, like any situation that there's some you have to fire someone or things like that. Cases can depend from anything to, it depends on the panel itself. Or you could get some topical topics based on current topics that are going on, or topics of importance, which may be climate change or things like that. So these are the topics that you might kind of get. It's hard to judge exact topic that you'll get, but these are the broadly the themes that you might have, right? So content will obviously depend on the topic. What we can say is, like, if it's a 10-minute GD, like, at least try to pitch in 2 to 3 times. And along with the content, what is more important is also your behavioral aspects during a GD. I would say that it is equally important as compared to content, right? So be respectful, like, be assertive, but do not let people get into arguments or debates, and yourself also don't get into a debate. Also try to guide the group to a logical and fair conclusion of the group discussion. So Siri, any
One
more? Yeah.
important quality, often underrated, is in a group discussion. It is very much important to listen to others as much as about speaking. It is about speaking. So you must be a good listener in order to counter or support their points. So just to add a few things to what Kshitij said. So initially, when you are given certain instructions, given that it is online and we understand technical glitches might happen, so if you have missed anything or if you're not clear about anything, seek for clarification with the panel before the discussion starts itself, before they give you a topic. Once the topic is given, your time starts and you won't have any scope. Okay. One thing. And the next is, if you do not know the content of a particular topic, don't be disappointed. Wait for others to speak. Once they speak, you might have opinions on that, whether concurring opinion or a differing opinion. You can build on that. But when you are disagreeing with them, disagree respectfully. And also,
You can also,
yeah,
yeah,
go on.
you can also use various frameworks that we have, like pestle analysis, which is political, economical, social, technological, legal, environmental, or SWOT analysis, which is strengths and weaknesses, just to brainstorm while you are, if you have gotten a topic that you do not know much about. Other than that, what you can also do is, like, let others speak, and then maybe once they speak something, then a new point strike to you, or some things that you want to favor them in, or some points you want to counter them in. So that ways also you can build some content while you are within a GD. Yeah.
Also, if you do not have your own points, you can always contribute by adding on to what others have. And then one more important thing I wanted to communicate is, if you are shifting your stance, so usually don't do it without any reason. Have a justification. It's okay to change your stand, because that shows you are a person who appeals to reason, but have a reason if you are shifting the stance also. And
Yeah.
also, one common thing is, when the debate is happening, it will usually happen around the most burning perspective of a particular issue. So then look for scope to bring in new issue. For example, I can give from the current affairs, is a very vague example though. If a discussion is going on about having data servers domestically within the domestic boundaries, everybody will be talking about it at a principal level, whether it should be the sovereignty of the nation, or we have, since it's a globalized world, it's okay to have it outside. So then, rather than getting yourself bogged in the principalistic discussion, you can bring in a infrastructural perspective. What all the infrastructure is needed, what challenges we have. It is good to do it, but whether it is possible in the near future. So
Yeah.
look for options where you can expand the discussion also.
Yeah. And also one more thing is, like, many times in very divided issues, it'll be like, if there are 10 of you, like, many people would be on one side of the issue. So it's completely okay to be, against the motion or something. In fact, if you are very much in a minority, it may leave a good impression if you are able to make good points, because most of the people are on the other side of the issue. But even if it's a sensitive issue or anything, make your points, but just be respectful about them, and just be assertive but in a respectful manner. But it's okay to be against the motion as well. Yeah.
So yeah, be prepared with current issues also. Since it's the election year, most of the topics have been coming to the surface for debate and discussion. So it is just to project yourself as a aware citizen, nothing to do with your general knowledge or something. Just be aware of what the perspectives are, what the debate is all around about, and then the topics can be totally static or abstract, or it can be a question format also. Especially when it is a question format, you will have to cover both the perspectives. For example, my topic, although this year we do not have extempore, my extempore topic was about, is good economics same as good politics? So you have to think about what all economics covers, what are the subcategories of economics, what are the subcategories of politics, link both of them, and you can build arguments. So, and one more important thing, when it comes to GD, the problem is mostly is not about speaking; it's about organizing your thoughts. So, whenever you are given a topic, start thinking from now on. Just practice to think fast. Whenever you are given something, just within 2 minutes, try to recollect everything you know about that particular topic. And like the framework Kshitij mentioned, you can start practicing to think along those lines, the pestle framework, the star framework, or any other such thing. Or another suggestion, what you can do is, you can have a paper with you. You can just write down the titles like challenges, suggestions, opportunities, and whatever the innovative models you have come across. So keep those titles ready. And once you are given the topic, you have 1 or 2 minutes to think. Within this 1 or 2 minutes, if whatever the thoughts that are coming to your mind, you can just jot down under those particular headings. So by the time you are ready to speak, you have the content ready.
Yeah. So I think more or less we have spoken about content. I would also like to say, like, there are some good practices that you can follow, like Siri also mentioned, and one we mentioned earlier already, that always have a stopwatch with you, because that will help you, gauge the time during, because 10 minutes in a GD pass really fast. So it's good if you have a watch with you. Other thing is, always keep a notepad and a pen with yourself, so that you can jot down your points. You can jot down other people's good points that you can build upon, so that is also a very good practice. And always, keep a calm demeanor, a smiling face, and don't get into arguments, and those kinds of behavioral aspects go without speaking, right? So
So
this is
you
it. So,
want to
like,
take
someone is
questions?
asking about armed force preferences. I think maybe you can get in touch with us on our official, social media handles. We'll check on this and get back to you. Because if you're not able to find it on the website, like we'll try to get it for you, right? The
Yeah.
armed forces quota thing.
Any
Other,
category specific requirements, once you are shortlisted for the program, even along with your DAF, the administrative department, they will send you a list of documents that will be required. So you
yeah,
will have a clear official communication then. Do not worry about it.
yeah. And other thing is like how do preferences matter in the final merit score? So whatever is the preference of the programs that you have, put like this in first, this in second, this in third. So that will be the final preference that will be considered while your candidature is finally accepted once you are finally admitted into the college. So be very careful while you are filling the preference form, because even if you clear two of them and later you realize that no, I want to join the second one, but like that won't happen. So you have to be very careful while that doing that.
So, because see, if you are selected for the first program, you won't be considered for the second and third preference, even if you have qualified for that preference. So, your first is the final one if you're
Yeah.
selected for it.
So I have scored so and so marks in CUET. Should I apply? I think you should definitely apply. Like there is no harm in applying, and we do not know what the cutoffs are as of now. If you
And
see
also,
yourself as an HRM student, please do apply.
if you have good interview score, that can turn the tables around. So, take your
Yeah,
chance.
yeah. So like even in our, although the exam was different, there are many people who had just cleared the cutoff, but many of them have made it to the final, to our batch. And I have friends, or there are experiences with people who had more marks than the cutoff, but their interview didn't go well, so they were not able to convert it. So it goes both ways. So I think you should not be putting yourself out of the race as of now. If you are convinced that you want to pursue a career in HR, you want to be a part of TISS HRM and LR, then definitely do fill the form, because you still have about a couple of weeks till 24th, and post that you will not be able to. So yeah.
Okay, any other further questions?
I think how to answer why
Yeah,
HR. I think we'll cover this once we come to the interview part. So we'll cover this for you, like how to answer why HR. Those are
especially
the
when
most
you're
important.
shifting careers.
Yeah.
The other frequently asked
Yes.
question? Yeah.
So the weightage is, as you mentioned it correctly, it's 25% for the online assessments and 75% for the score that you have in your COET PG. So can this make a difference? Like, of course, like this will make a difference, but ultimately, once you are above the cutoff, then it depends how much you score in the interview as well. So all obviously the written marks also have a weightage, which is 75%, but it's a simple 75-25 matrix that we have here. Are there people from tier 2, 3 colleges in this HRMLR? I think there are plenty. Like we have a very, very diverse batch, not just in terms of tier 2, 3 colleges, but in the terms of the kind of fields that they are coming from also. So we have all kinds of people, from engineers to dentists to psychology majors, English majors, mathematics, economics, all kinds of students essentially. So I think that is not a hindrance at all.
In fact, that actually builds your ability to deal with multiple people with multiple diverse backgrounds when you actually become a HR,
Yeah.
because your
So
shift spares
yeah,
with them.
because this career is such that you will be dealing with people, large organizations with workforce in lakhs at times, and obviously in lakhs there'll be people from all kinds of spheres of life, so you'll be dealing with that. So I think this also helps you get a good
First hand
experience while
experience.
in college itself.
Yeah.
So someone is mentioning like, is there any weightage for work experience? Like there is no weightage as such for work experience, but you can make it count to your advantage if you are able to use your previous experience, use your whatever, use the skills you have gained. So that always helps as compared to a fresher, but there is no weightage as such. That I would like to make it clear. We have enough freshers in our batch and enough workex people in our batch, so there is no trend that we can speak to that workex are more or freshers are more. Both are given an equal opportunity, and over the course of many batches both have been selected in equal proportions. So I think now we can move to the interview part. I think, right? We covered a few questions related to GD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kshitij, you want to start?
So okay, so like interview, what we can say is like probably first I want to like we had a query also like GD would not be a eliminating round. It would be a combined score of your GD and interview. So we've already covered GD. Now we'll come into the interview. So interview, like you'll have a panel assigned. Probably last year we had two people interviewing us, if I remember correctly, two
Yeah,
or
I
three.
had a three-member panel.
Ha. So I think I also had a three-member panel only, which are very experienced professors are usually the head of the panels over here. So what I would say is that firstly, like let me come to a bit of what you can prepare, kind of resources that you can use. So you can read about basic HR functions. Like you can go, the way to go about is you can go through the employee life cycle, like the functions that they perform while the employee is onboarded into a company, like when he recently joins a company. So various functions like talent acquisition and all that will come in that aspect. Then while the employee is in the company, while he's serving in the company, so various L&D, learning and development, performance management, all those kind of things will come in that aspect. And when the employee is about to leave the company or switching the company, so various things like attrition, or in some cases maybe termination, all those kind of things you should read about. So these are basic HR functions that you could read. You could basically just do a simple Google search. If you are, like you want to go in detail, you can pick up any basic HR book also. But if you do not have time, internet is more than sufficient. I think most of us did that. Other than that, since I mentioned, sometimes you may have to hire or fire people. So labor laws is an important area that, HRs have to deal with, especially in industries and all those things, industrial relations. So you could read about labor laws, the various labor laws that exist in India. A very simple Google search like labor laws plus HR would give you very good results. You would find good YouTube videos also. So you can just go through about the labor laws. And there was also recent amendments in labor laws in 2019, I think, right, Siri? 2019-20.
We have four new
So you,
labor codes.
yeah, so that you can just go through them. And other than that, I think some recent trends, maybe Siri can pick that up, recent trends in HR.
Basically, you're aspiring to be a HR. This is a very domain specific course. You must at least know what this course is able to offer you, what all functions a particular HR is able to do. You need not go into theories or other nuances of it. At least know what the trends are. You can follow some website like People Matters, where there are new HR trends about companies. Makes Try to make sense of it. What are actually happening, what is the influence of AI on HR, or maybe what are the practices of big companies, what are the practices of startups. So just have a basic idea so that you'll have fodder points to
Yeah.
talk about in your interview or in your GD.
You can also go through, basic, there are some things called motivational theories that come under, this thing, organization behavior, all those kind of things you can go through, although it's not necessary at all. But since this time you have almost a month to prepare, maybe you can go through these kind
Yeah.
of things as well.
Basic
Uh,
awareness will.
Yeah. And also, like Siri mentioned, like some of the, burning topics that are going on in the corporate world, or more specific to HR, of course, that you should be going through. Like these days, there's a lot of, there's mass resignation also. There's also mass firing also in many cases. Layoffs are being done. You should have a bit of grasp of that. Like, why are those things happening? What are the HR's role in that? All those kind of things. You should have a
Also,
basic understanding of those
there
trends.
are new terms coming up these days, especially in the corporate vocabulary,
Yeah.
like great resignation, all these things.
Moonlighting was
uh,
one. Yeah.
yeah, make a note of these things so that you can mention those in your GDs and
It
interview process.
definitely helps create a good impression that the person is well versed with the current trends also, in addition to the basic theories of HR. So those, that is one of the things. Now, like basically a lot of questions are coming about gap also. So as we already mentioned, I think in the beginning of interview also, like as long as you're able to justify your gap years properly, it definitely does not hinder your chances. At least I can speak for TISS that this is definitely not the case, as it happens in a few other B schools. But in TISS, it's definitely not the case. You will have an equal footing as anyone else. You should just be able to justify your gap years properly, that how do you put them to, how have you put them to good use. Your choices may not have worked, but those were the choices you believed were right at that time, and now you have made a good choice and a logical choice to pursue HRM. So you should be able to you know justify both those parameters properly, and then it definitely, like, we can speak from experiences of various batch profiles, it is definitely not a roadblock in any sense. So I'm not good in communication in English. So I think I would like to answer that TISS is a very inclusive place in that way. So like, there are people from various socioeconomic backgrounds over here, and language, like we would mention even from our batch, like there are various people who are well versed in different languages, perhaps not as well versed in English also, but like they are part of the same batch, and many of them have gotten into really good companies also for their internships. So I think language as a barrier, like, just work if you have the basic competency and the basic knowledge. So language is just a medium of communicating, and as long as you're able to communicate your points to the panel, I am definitely sure that it would not be a hindrance for you. So
Also, yeah, a language is not a big hurdle to overcome. Also, yes,
yeah,
you might have a different background, which is why you might not be well versed with English. Totally understandable. But one suggestion I have is keep practicing. You'll only get better. So
yeah,
don't worry much about it. Try to
yeah,
communicate and keep watching whatever the material you can access to improve it. But make an effort to improve it. That is what I'm suggesting.
yeah. So what else, other questions?
How
So
HR from TISS is different from HR from other IIMs. Like we mentioned, fieldwork is our biggest USP. And when it
yeah,
comes to HR, TISS is the premium college in India.
yeah. So I think most, like, you can compare, like, this only has HR, while in other colleges such as IIMs, although you'll have the IIM tag, but HR is like not, like, they, it is not the specialization of sorts. So our program goes way back to the 1950s when it started, and owing to that we have a very extensive alumni network. Like, some of our alumni are at the topmost positions of various companies in the HR domain, and you combine that with four fieldworks that you get, and the kind of professors that we have here, the legacy of the course, almost 60 plus years now. So those are the kind of things that make it different from any other top B school when we are specifically talking about HR. And you can just do, a basic Google search would tell you, like, it is among the top most colleges for HR, like, quite easily, and has been for many years. So I think that should not be
It's a social
something that,
sciences institute that has contributed immensely to the society through other departments as well,
yeah,
whether it is social work or disaster management. So that kind of values are naturally imbibed in you as a HR professional, which are actually needed to deal with your workforce in the corporate. So that makes you very unique from what other IIMs have to offer.
yeah. Is there any teacher as well in your batch that I have teaching? So I think teacher we do not have in our batch, but I can recall that there is some teachers in our senior batches as well.
No,
So
in our batch, there was not, one who had a formal teacher background, but there are
yeah,
people who have done teaching for few
yes,
years as a
yes.
hobby.
Like, they may not have been in a government institute or something, but they have been teaching for about 3 years or something like that, right? So regardless, it goes without saying that whether it's teacher or someone is psychology background, so I don't see any difference that a teacher is a different from an engineer or a dentist or a psychologist. The point still stands that it's a very diverse batch that we have here, and
Yeah.
it has been the same through many years. So I don't think that would be a hindrance in any ways. I think as a teacher,
Yeah.
in fact, you can bring much more to the table as well.
Huge applications we receive. There are people across multiple backgrounds with good capabilities who apply for the program. So irrespective of what background you are, all you have to explain to the panel is you are worthy of this opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and Kshitij, there is this question about shifting careers. You want to take it up?
Yeah, so I think shifting careers, again, it's something like, how do you justify your gap years? It again comes down to conviction. Like, you have to convince the panel that you believe that it's the right move for you. And why, the why here becomes very important, that why is it you
And
believe.
shifting happens without gap years also.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
So like the basic fundamental crux that I want to get into is that the why part here becomes very important. Like, why do you have gap years is like, that is what you need to justify in a gap years question. And why you are making a shift in your career, that why becomes very important, that how well are you able to justify it. You can maybe justify it from a point of, a career aspiration point of view, that you've always wanted to be HR. Or you can, once you study about HR, you'll find some things that you connect to more. Maybe someone connects more to diversity, equity and inclusion kind of things. Maybe someone connects more to, the industrial relations part, dealing with the blue collar workers or some things like that. So those are the kind of things that you have to point out, that these are the things that make you, attracted towards HR as a career.
yeah.
So these are the kind of points that I think you can use. I think these are the ones that come to my mind.
So, especially when you are addressing this question, keep in mind do not talk extremely negatively about your previous background.
Yeah.
You are shifting to HRM. You can address the limitations you have faced there and then mention ki as I was exploring opportunities, I have found HR as most relevant and aligning with my interests. You can answer it on that lines, but never speak badly or negatively about your previous background. And one more thing, know about the opportunities that HRM can provide. And while you write your interest in your bio sketch or in your DAF, you can drop hints that these actually align with your goals or values.
Yeah. So I think approximately how many candidates are called? I think we mentioned it earlier as well. I think 10 times the
Once.
seats would be called. So 1:10 would be the people who are called for the online assessment. I think why HR is something that we covered in the previous question. So maybe. So I would also like to cover 2 points when it comes to interview. Like, you may be a fresher or you may be coming with a workex. So there are like ample in our batch profiles over the years. You'll find there are equal people who have no work ex who are coming as a fresher, and there are people who come in with work experience as well. So both of the things you can use it to your advantage. Like, as a fresher, you can use things like you are keen to learn about new things. You have a much more malleable mind at this point of time, and you have a lot of strides to take in your career. Those kinds of things you can probably work it to your advantage. And while it comes to workex, basically you would have had various experiences and various skills that you have gained through that period of working either in government or corporate sectors. You would have an exposure to HR of your particular workex also. So those are the kind of points that you can pick up and bring in front of the panelists, so as to gain some that the people would feel that they have had exposure to HR, and they would be able they would make a good candidate essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, so and there is one question repeating, like someone has a law background and they want to answer why HR question. Like I said, it's just about aligning your interests and goals. Uh, like maybe I don't know much about what law offers, but in a general perspective, law is something that ventures into all sectors. So, given your exposure, or you can mention a particular incident that might have helped you, inspired your journey towards HR, or it can be personal reason also
Yeah.
if you want to shift your careers.
So essentially, it need not be like a very, there's no correct answer in these kinds of things. You just need to be convinced with your answer, and it should make logical
So law student,
coherence.
your existing knowledge will help you deal better with the laws in involving human resources, whether it is
Yeah,
industrial
labor laws. Yeah.
or the hiring or firing laws. So you can
Yeah.
contribute and
Yeah.
link those.
So like, we have a specific segment called industrial relations, so that has a very extensive use of laws, basically the various laws that we have, paternity leave act or things like that, industrial disputes act. So a law student can definitely use that to his advantage is what I would like to say.
Yeah, and general hygiene factors that you need to keep in
Yeah.
mind during interview preparation. Given there's a paucity of time, I would like to address this first, and if there's any time, we'll take further questions. So, general hygiene factors are: maintain a calm demeanor. There might be some grilling, but do not lose your temper. Do not be restless. There might be questions that will push you to justify your choices, and do not get to an extreme point where you sound disrespectful or arrogant. It's
Yeah.
okay. They are very well experienced people, and they given it's a panel of three members, and matching your particular DAF, there might be people who have certain knowledge about your background or your work experience also. So just have an impression that you will be assessed fairly. It's a three-member panel, and do not lose your cool and do not get tensed or nervous. It's okay because you are the one who are introducing yourself to them. Just do it in a fair and honest
Yeah.
way. That should help you.
Yeah, and I think even some basic hygiene factors I would like to mention, like be dressed up professionally. Like try not to be in a round collar T-shirt or things like that. Try to be in a well lit room if that is possible. Have maybe
Internet.
the internet is an issue, so have a mobile hotspot as a backup. So things like that, like basic. Do not be in a very noisy background. So it's like basic things like that that I would like to mention. It goes both for the GD as well as the interview.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think people are asking about the fees and hostel fees. I think you'll find that very easily on the TISS website. But like one basic thing that we can say is that the return of on investment that you'll get from TISS is like it's officially the best now in India. So I think that is something that you do not need to worry about. Even the hostel fees, as you mentioned, are quite like
Yeah, and
nominal.
also hostel fees, they might vary in the next academic year. Slight variation
Yeah,
though.
but you'll find that in the admissions brochures very easily. And the other thing is that yeah, the fees and all the details would be very easily available on the website, I'm pretty sure.
And also, yeah, since the admission process is ongoing, keep checking this website or even official channels
Yeah.
regularly for official communication. Because now, see, this step is mandatory, and it is very important, to follow these channels to keep in track what
Yeah.
is happening. Keep a track of what.
So
Yeah.
also we, as TISS HRM and LR's aspirants relation committee, we run certain social media pages where we bring to you the latest updates as they come officially through the official sources. So like tis.hrmlr is our Instagram and tishhrmlr is our LinkedIn page also. So you can follow us there and keep yourself updated with whatever are the new timelines or whatever. We've also come up with content for GD preparation, and we are planning to come up with few content for interview preparation. So those kind of things are some things that we try from our end to do for aspirants, probably to do some value addition to your journey to TISS.
Yeah, so given the
So
wide reach of audience that Crackyo has, we expect to reach to further aspirant community
yeah,
to convey this communication.
so I think Google form questions we already took almost all the ones.
Yeah,
If is there any specific one that you'd like to ask? I think we still have a couple of minutes. And hostels are not available to all candidates. There's a certain income limit to that. You can go through the TISS website to
but
see.
others can find, accessible and affordable communication
Yeah,
close to campus.
yeah,
One question is GK will be there on for the GDPIC general GK, not the static GK, but like we mentioned, please be aware of the current happenings as they would expect from a well-aware citizen.
yeah. So I think for other courses, like we cannot speak on their behalf. So whatever was relevant to HRM and LR, so like that is what we try to cover in here.
Yeah,
So yeah,
there is no extempore also. There is only GD
yeah,
and PI. There is no extempore this year. And
yeah,
GD PI will be entirely online.
yeah. So I think we have covered most of the questions as well. So like before leaving, we would like to, just urge people to, first of all, we would like to, go back through the timelines. So essentially till 24th May, you have the first form of rounds where you just basically enter your CUET marks and photographs and all that. After that, we expect, TISS to release the detailed application forms, post which we have the dates of 18th June to 30th June for the online assessments, which comprises of both the GD and the interview. And probably a few days after that, the first merit list will be released. And yeah, I think those are the basic timelines that you should keep in mind. And we would urge people to, apply in large numbers, because there's no precondition of having applied in HRM in your CUET form. Even if you make up your mind right now, you can apply to that. You just need to have given the COQP 12 question paper code within CUET PG examination that happened in March. So I
Yeah,
think,
which is
yeah, that
to
is,
convey that don't consider yourself out of the race as of now based on some
yeah,
projections which might not actually be true also.
yeah. So the actual cutoffs will only come through the institute side. So please do not go by, any things, and don't count yourself out of the race. Just, just give it a try if you want to. So I think that is all that we want to say for today's session.
Yeah, and if you have any further queries along the journey through the entire admission process, you can reach out to us, Aspirants Relations and Branding Committee, or even the crack you also.
Yeah. So I think we'll be available on Instagram or LinkedIn. Please feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to our batchmates, or, anyone through TISS. Somehow they'll find a way to redirect you to us. And we'll obviously try to answer your queries as much as we can and to our best abilities. So I think lastly, we would like to say like all the best to all those who are preparing for, the GD and OPI rounds. Just keep going with your preparations. You still have a lot of time, 1.5 months almost. Fill your drafts properly, and just keep going with your preparation, and best of luck, and hoping to see many of you as our junior batch next year. Yeah.
Yes, all the best, guys. Any queries, reach out to us or any of our batchmates or seniors on HRM and LR LinkedIn. You can find them. So, yeah, take as many opinions as you would like, but finally decide what's good for you. Uh,
Yeah.
that's all.
So I think thank you guys and all the best. Do well and keep preparing. Thank you.